All right, so welcome to the Theory of Everything experience. Um, just want to let you know that in my mind, this is awesome, but when you take things from the universe of your imagination and try to bring it into the universe of reality, things are sometimes chaotic. Um, I want to say hello to the Pat McAfee Show. I do have a proposal, a solution for the college football and NCAA issues. And yeah, I have this written down, sorry. Uh, if we do agree to the proposal, you will have and or determine all of the broadcasting rights for all of the media. Now, I think that this is awesome because not very often do you get to document the creation of a universe at scale. Um, but here we are. Not quite a big bang. Probably almost no one understands what's happening and is super confused about what is going on and thinks that all of this is pretty insane. We all know that there's a thin line, or trust that there's a thin line between insanity and genius. Um, Only a few of us have the faith to look to see what's on the other side. Maybe, maybe we work on that one a little bit. But it is kind of interesting that the only difference between genius and insanity is faith, which is wild. Um, but really, like, what did you like? What reality in day and age and time that we're in right now could anyone honestly think that recording a video and sending it out randomly that anything is going to happen? What reality? What kind of reality is that? Um, and I'll tell you, it's a pretty fucking awesome one. Um, do I think anything is going to happen? No, I don't think that this works very often, but it doesn't have to work every time. It just has to work this time. So there we go. Um, I do use the title of the Theory of Everything experience because I do believe that this will show how everything works. Um, I don't think all universes are created with a bang. I think the bang comes after the universe is created, and I think this will demonstrate that as the experience continues. But I think most universes and systems are created more like two dogs circling each other while they sniff each other's butt uh, in a toilet bowl surrounded by turds and dude wipes, and somebody flushes the toilet. If you realize that you're in that situation where you're neck deep in it with a whole bunch of shit and a whole bunch of stuff that you don't fully understand, going to a place that you have no idea where it is, but you realize that once you get to the other side, you're going to be drained of what you are right now. Um, that's kind of how I think the universe is created, where we just kind of all get flushed down the toilet, smashed together, and become one thing on the other side. uh, and right now we don't even know if we're dogs yet to even circle each other, sniff each other's butts. Um, I like dogs as kind of an interesting analogy because in my reality where you're saying there's a chance is enough, when the people that you want on your team, they're they're the dogs. You definitely want to have dogs on your team when you're trying to do something that everyone knows you need, but no one's ever thought of doing. Um, that's the end of the script. So now we're gonna go. So yeah, that's kind of it's a joke, but as serious as you want it to be. There is no action without reaction, is something I like to say. Um, that was absolutely horrible. I'm definitely going to try again tomorrow. Um, ask the question of like why would I even attempt to reach out to something like the Pat McAfee show? And it goes back to a something that I don't know if they still say it, but definitely something in my memory that's said all the time is like shoot for the moon. It's a card. I think it's in cards also. Um, I think that statement kind of is very apparent of the evolution of systems because there was a point in time where the moon was the furthest thing away from us. Um, so I think, and you shot for that, and you said if you miss, you at least land amongst the stars. Um, well, as being amongst the stars right now, something just floating off in space without anything orbiting and or around you, that's fucking terrifying. So if you're aiming for the moon and you miss and you just end up amongst the stars, that's a horrible place to go. I think we should, if we haven't changed the saying already, and that's what I'm think I'm attempting right now is, if you have a dream, or everybody should sit still and until they find a direction. And once you find that direction, you find the furthest, brightest point and go until you hit that. That's the farthest universe. Because you're going to go until you get there. And if you don't, you're going to end up where you're supposed to be. So, do I think that I will ever have the neutral alliance of competitive collegiate activities? Will that ever exist? I don't know. I've definitely made it up. Um, I've put thought into it. It is fractally scalable, meaning that it can scale up to, in my mind, what fractal means, because I'm sure somebody out there is going to tell me that that's not the actual reality. But in my reality, fractal is scalable in all directions to infinity, much like zooming in on your Mandelbrot set. Um, it's the basis of it, and is the basis of all things if you want to get into it. But basically, we take the top 25 teams and we put them into 5 different conferences, and you have to play, each conference has to determine one team, and then the people get to vote on the 6th team. And that's the basic layout of it. If you take each conference and then you give them each their own feeder league, so 5 teams of 5, you will have, what is that, 150 teams. So every good college football team in the nation would be able to fall into this system. And then, I don't know, as the soccer fans out there, because I think this is what happens in soccer. Not a soccer fan, don't watch it. Appreciate it when the World Cup's here, but I never got into it for some reason. But I think they have regulation in soccer. So if you treat this like that, where the bottom team on every league is deregulated. So if you win your league, you move on to the playoffs. If you lose, you move down a peg. This offers the opportunity for schools to earn their way, and they don't have to be schools, franchises, to earn their way up to the highest league. So you could essentially, much like J.J. Watt, I think, is doing it with his soccer team. If you have a good owner and a good coach, you can play your way to the top and make it. So it gives everybody the opportunity to succeed and fail equally. And this model also gives, so that's the league model. It's much larger than that. I don't really think that anybody's really, but I think it would be interesting to incorporate all of the systems involved in sports, make them important to the product. I do pace up and down. It's interesting because I spent the last 4 hours probably pacing up and down, doing this in my head, and it's petrifying. But I do think that this is, genius, because it's, if the right things come into line, it could work to a scale to be beneficial to more people. I said at the beginning that you should find a direction, and then find the brightest thing that's the furthest away and go for that. I can't be the first person to say that, and I don't think that I am, but I do think that it's not something that's shared. And there's a reason why I chose the Pat McAfee show, because sometimes you realize a goat's a goat before they're a goat. I was stoned sitting on the couch thinking of layers of like where would I classify myself as? Like, am I average? Am I like, there's layers, as Macklemore said, there's layers to the shit player, tiramisu. So like, if you look at the majority of anything, it's in the middle. So like 60% of us are just like the crust of the earth. We're that hard shell that's doing all the dirty work, keeping everything together. Kind of just like getting in the mud, mixing it up, making it all happen. Then as you get out, then you move out away from that. That's your average. Then you have the good people. Like, they're still going to get dirty, but they have a specialty, And as you get more special, you move higher up into that ordeal, and that's good. And then next is best, I think, because I think best is the top of. That's when you're getting to that 80%. So that's like the indifferent and all of the non it's all about, it doesn't matter what the facts are, it doesn't matter what existence says, my reality says this. And I think that would be great. And then the great, I think great is like your NCAA players that you know of, maybe not drafted. I'm talking like, so yeah, great is like your non-drafted NFL players, and then your great NFL players, those are legends. And then the legendary NFL players, they're GOATs. So it goes GOAT, legend, great, best, good. Yeah. So then I was thinking, I'm probably on that scale in my prime, 18, 19, coming out of high school. I was probably physically gifted enough and mentally gifted enough with guidance that I was good enough to be on the cusp of like great and legend. But I was like good enough to be great, but not bad enough to be bad, which is kind of an interesting spot to be in. Because it's kind of a camouflage spot that nobody's looking in. This is not. This sounds like complaining, but it's just an observation. I'm not. I'm living the dream, even as bad as if I describe my situation to you. It is literally what. Oh, this is not what I want to be saying. Yeah, it's I have to figure out a way to write a script for this. I do call this the experience because it is going to be a documentation of the evolution of my ability to control a train of thought. It is a wild place in my mind where a lot of things get connected and get spun out. So this probably looks like, to people that know what's going on, this probably looks like some mushroom-induced retarded monkey punching away on a keyboard, typing in the encyclopedia. And it very well could be. But the question is it the monkey's knowledge of the encyclopedia or the monkey's knowledge of how to type it out on a keyboard that the situation is? In my mind, that sounds way more like, I think what I'm trying to do is genius. I think the media in which I'm doing it, I'm look ridiculous doing. Um, but I think we've all done things, retired from a NFL career as a punter to do something that nobody understood. A lot of people probably said this is a dumb idea, and you did it anyway, and it worked. And then there's a lot of you, like myself, who have done the same thing, and it worked, but not anywhere near the way that you thought it was going to. I literally have no idea where this is going. I just know this is what I do when I do nothing, and that is solve problems. And I have a genuine way in which I can solve everything, I guess. Hence the theory of everything experience. I don't know. It's like in this experience of creating a universe, we are just now becoming aware of being aware. Like the awareness, so knowing of only one part of the system knows of the other one. I know of somebody out there that is interested in gambling on doing something. I have no idea where they are, much like the freedom or the independence in Armageddon. There's a dot on the screen. It's beeping. I'm aiming at it and hoping for the best. I don't know how it happens. I don't know how it gets there. But when we're aware, when both parties are aware that the other one has knowledge, that's when consciousness comes to be. Consciousness is just being aware of knowledge. And that's where we are. I need to gain knowledge on how to do this. I know nothing. So anybody out there that is interested in helping, I am very easily reachable through any comment section that you find. And I'll try this again tomorrow. Oh, wait, I should do this. So it does sound like I have an unhealthy obsession. And I'll try to make it clear on why it's not an obsession, because it's much like finding a program, a team that's run the way you want it to be run. You would observe it critically so you could implement it optimally. And much like every practice, there's a psychological thing that I've gone that somebody's told me about. It works. We used to do it when I ran my CrossFit gyms. But at the end of every show, he says, "Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. Team on me. Team on three. 1, 2, 3. Team." The be a friend, tell a friend something nice thing is parallel to something that I picked up in my 20s through a series of misfortunate events. So I've always been a proponent of time is precious and make sure your loved ones know they're loved, and the rest of them can go fuck themselves. But in light of hearing that at the end of every show, and my, quest to explain the universe by building a universe, I expand on that, or pivot on that, where Some people speak through words, some people speak through action. There is no action without a reaction. React often, react with purpose, and if possible, react kindly. We'll see you tomorrow.